Hello my friends, and welcome back to Slay the Spire 2. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're playing the Silent, because it's been confirmed that the latest version of the beta, which is what we're playing on, is going to be moved to the main branch of the game. The Silent received a lot of changes over the course of the beta, and so I wanted to play this character, especially because I want to do a tier list for it, and in the most recent and most difficult version of the game. Now, despite the Silent having received a bunch of nerfs over the course of the beta, which it needed, I still think that it's the easiest character to beat Ascension 10 with. So today, I'm going to show you how to do that. If you're looking to get your first Ascension 10 win, or looking to win in the new, more difficult version of the game, this will hopefully give you a good sense of how to do so. Alright, so we're jumping in with the Silent here. And I'm looking at these Niao buffs, and right away I think that there's one that really stands out above the two others. A second Niao relic with no control over it with Niao's bones for a random curse I really dislike. The Silent really doesn't like to add curses to the deck. Even though you have extra card draw and can discard cards, you need to draw your cards together, because this is a synergy-based character. So curses are actually more impactful for you than for other characters, despite what you might see people say about the Silent. Niao's Fury, I think, is generally a fairly weak buff. It's an okay early game card, but that's all it is. But Golden Pearl, I think, is a pretty solid buff overall, especially if, as we do here, you have early shops to make use of that, to remove cards you don't want, or look for powerful cards at the shop. Looking at our path, we have... This is a pretty interesting path. It does force us to take 2 elite fights, which is a little risky, but with the extra 150 gold, we can buy some stuff at the shop that will help with that. And if we really don't find anything at the shop, we always have the option to audible to the right here and look at this shop and then maybe take that. And then if we find good cards in the early game, we can get really greedy and take 4 elite fights in Act 1, so a pretty interesting path. We're going to take Golden Pearl here, and we'll see what we get. When you're choosing your path on the map, the main thing that you should be looking for is, after your first 3 non-elite fights, these hallway fights, the 4th and every fight thereafter in Act 1, or 3rd and so on in Act 2, are going to come from a harder pool of enemies. You want to avoid this as long as possible, because that harder pool of enemies are way harder, but give the same rewards. So you're trying to delay taking your 4th non-elite fight for as far in the map as you can. Let's go down the middle here. We already kind of talked about how good this path is, so that's what we're going to take. And we're going to start by killing this twig slime so that it doesn't attack, and then I can damage the other one as much as possible, get it to within dying in 1 strike. So hopefully we can do that, and then still block all of the damage from the other enemy. Here we're going to take 2, because we didn't draw Neutralize or Survivor in this hand. We had them both in the first hand, so we're always taking 2 damage here. Not the worst thing in the world. Not a great shuffle for us, but not a terrible shuffle either. Here, we're going to play our slimes, and I guess I'll just play another one to get it out of the deck, and then we can go strike Neutralize, because the enemy is not attacking this turn. See what we draw here. We can play our Neutralize, and we can play Strike, and defend Survivor. And hopefully make it out of this fight, having only taken 2 damage. The Silent can usually avoid taking too much damage in the early game. Your starting cards are really good, so it gives you a lot of ways to avoid taking early game damage. Here, in our first shop, Sucker Punch I think is very strong, because it's a decent tempo card in terms of doing damage. You need to add more damage density to your deck in the early game to make sure you can kill elites quickly enough before they kill you. And it also upgrades really well to apply a second turn of weakness, so this is a card I definitely don't mind having. I would certainly take it over Leading Strike, which is also fine. Leading Strike does 3 damage, does 11 damage for 1 energy, and then works with Shiv synergy. So this is another early game tempo card, but I usually am going to prefer Sucker Punch. But the question is, do I want Prepared? Prepared is an extremely strong card for the Silent. It lets you discard cards and cycle through your deck once you've upgraded it, which can enable Sly, the Silent's best mechanic, and also help you see more cards quickly. So I think I will take Prepared. It's just such an important card for the character, especially now that Acrobatics has been moved to Uncommon, that I'm almost always just going to take the first Prepared that I see. We'll have time to find a damage card in this fight or in the shop before we have to fight the Elite. Another kind of rough shuffle, causing me to take 2 damage here, though. So we're getting our health chipped a little bit more than you would, I think, on average in these fights, but no big deal, of course. We can use Prepared here to look for our Neutralize to prevent the maximum amount of damage anyways. And then here I have exactly enough to kill the enemy with Triple Strike and Neutralize, which is lucky because we had no defense there. Alright, so here, Tactician goes extremely well with Prepared, of course. It's a Sly card. And Cloak and Dagger and Slice, these I think are both pretty bottom tier cards. Cloak and Dagger can be okay, but it's basically 10 total stats for 1 energy, which is fine but not amazing. Tactician has so much upside that we're going to go ahead and take it. This is greedier than I would usually be in the first couple shops, and I might end up going to the right, or first couple card rewards. I might end up going to the right if we don't find good damage cards at the shop here, but I felt like I could get away with that because we have a bunch of gold, so we're going to be able to buy, hopefully, some good damage and value cards at this shop. We didn't get anything really amazing. I'm mostly looking for poison cards in this spot, but we did get Infinite Blades, which will generate enough value over long fights that we can kill enemies relatively easily. Pinpoint isn't bad either. It's going to be a pretty cheap damage card most of the time. We're usually going to be playing at least 2 skills, and so Pinpoint will cost 1 for 15 damage, which is obviously good, and if we play 3 skills, it's free. Tingsha is really strong for the Sly deck. If we end up with more Prepareds, more calculated gambles, more acrobatics, then Tingsha could be really good as well. Ultimate Strike isn't actually ridiculous either, though I would just take Pinpoint over it because they do basically the same thing. And Miniature Cannon and Dragon Fruit I think we'll skip. So what I'm looking at here is Infinite Blades is a good way to add additional damage over the course of longer fights. Removing a card is always good. Removing Strike, of course, is very important to the Silent to cycle through to our better cards faster. And Tingsha could set up for a really powerful mid-game if we find the appropriate cards to enable it. I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to remove a card. I'm just going to remove the Strike. And I'll buy Infinite Blades, and this is kind of a hedge against finding nothing in the next shop. Because I think we are not strong enough to take 2 elite fights in a row. And instead I want to look in this shop for another powerful card. So we're going to take one more hallway fight here. And we'll go to this shop because we didn't find anything particularly strong in the last one. The Sword of Stone, if you fight 5 elites, this turns into a +3 strength relic. Now, that's obviously very good with Infinite Blades, but you need to fight 5 elites before that. And so we're fighting 1, 2, 3, maybe this act. That's not bad. We could have the Sword of Stone online by mid-act 2. So we could go for this. On the other hand, losing 7 HP and getting 117 gold basically guarantees we can buy something good at the next shop. So I think we'll just take Dive into the Water. We need early game strength right now. So we're just looking for ways to add that to the deck. And in this case, a relic that doesn't come online for many, many turns is just not going to be enough value for us immediately. If I had one more good damaging card in the deck, I might have taken the Sword of Stone, but since we're looking for these types of cards so heavily right now, I think we need to focus on finding them. Again, trying to minimize damage, though you can see here that we have put ourselves in a position where our damage density is somewhat low thanks to the cards we've been offered, and so it's a little harder for us to kill enemies quickly. Here, I could take the Sucker Punch. I don't think we need another just straight up damage tempo card to go with Infinite Blades, though it is fine. Precise Cut, I definitely don't want. We're going to be drawing a lot here, so it is okay damage. I think we will take the Sucker Punch. We have a couple other cards we're going to upgrade first, but Sucker Punch is still relevant in the late game, and we do just need one more damage card before we fight the Elite. And if we don't find something at the shop, we could end up in trouble. And we really didn't find anything at the shop. Now, we do have Miniature Tent, which is very good, because that will let me... we have 4 rest sites coming up this act. So I am going to just buy the Miniature Tent, because we have 4 rest sites. It means I'm not buying anything else, but that is why we bought Sucker Punch, so that we have at least a little more damage in the deck. I could take Backstab as well if I'm really worried about just not having enough damage to kill this Elite, but I've got 2 potions, so I think we can get away without adding Backstab to the deck. This is the worst Elite for us to face. Our damage density is very low, so I'm definitely going to use a potion here, and we'll look for something with AoE damage. Pounce isn't bad. Dagger Throw can play Tactician for free. Precise Cut is going to be pretty bad overall. Let's just take Pounce. It's going to help me kill the Frog Parasite as fast as possible, I think. And then we'll do Strike. I think I will use my second potion here as well. With no AoE damage in the deck, the Frog Parasite is the worst enemy for us to face. Okay, obviously, if I made the decision in the wrong order, I should have played Prowess before. If I'm taking Prowess, I should have played it before playing my attack, so I will have given up 2 damage if we take Prowess. Do I want Discovery instead? I think Discovery is actually better than Prowess, because I need a damage spell more than I need 1 Strength and 1 Strength and 1 Dexterity here. Let's take Shadow Step, because we can discard my hand and then double the damage of my attacks, and we're drawing into a bunch of attacks next turn. So Shadow Step will hopefully help us kill this enemy just that little bit faster. Let's start with Prepared here, and then I'm going to play 1 Defend, or Triple Strike and Neutralize is 36, 42 damage, so we're just short. So we'll discard a Strike, and we'll try to save some health this turn. Here, I can play Infinite Blades, Sucker Punch, and a Defend. We didn't quite manage to kill the enemy before it put 3 more infections in the deck, but that's okay. I can go Pounce, killing it, which is perfect. So we'll do that. Now I have a free play of a skill, though that doesn't matter that much because none of these defensive skills are important. So let's just play Prepared. It does... Obviously, we're using our free play of a skill on a free card, but there's no other value we could have gotten anyways. And then we're going to try to kill this Wriggler before it attacks on the next turn. We have enough damage to get it down to 8, which I think gives us a good shot of killing it before it attacks and avoiding taking damage, especially because we have Infinite Blades in the deck. So here we can do that. We can play our 2 Defends. Or do I want to play Shadow Step, actually? I think I do. So I take 2 more damage. If I play the Defend here, I don't take any damage because we have 10 block for 10 incoming damage. But Shadow Step discards the infection, so we only take 2. And setting up the double damage for this next turn is going to help me kill these Wrigglers before they attack, especially the ones that have gotten additional strength. I have 20 damage with a Shiv and a Strike, so I will do that. And then I'll hit this enemy because it's attacking next turn. Sadly, didn't draw any block, so we are going to take a bunch of damage this turn. And we were always going to take a lot of damage against this Elite because, like I mentioned, it's the worst one for us to have rolled into. Here, we can kill that enemy, play Prepared, and we'll just discard the infection and play Sucker Punch. But we made the investment of buying the miniature tent, knowing that we were going to take damage in this elite fight, but now we can heal it without losing any value because we also get to rest twice at these 2 rest sites and still upgrade 2 cards. I'll go ahead and add a card to my deck before I take the War Paint, and I will take another Prepared. If we get a second upgraded Prepared, or if I get either of these upgraded, it's great. If the War Paint doesn't hit them, then we still have our campsites to upgrade them. Having multiple Prepareds in the deck means that any Sly cards we find will be incredibly high value. So here we can go ahead and do Rest and Smith, because we have the miniature tent. And I'm going to upgrade Neutralize here. Upgrading Neutralize is just extremely high value. At your first campsite on the Silent, you're almost always going to upgrade Neutralize because it now applies multiple turns of weakness, which is incredible. And then we get to go to another Campfire, and we get to rest, and we're almost back at full health. And then we can upgrade. I could Sucker Punch. There's also a foghorn going outside my house. I don't know if that's coming through on the on the microphone, but I apologize if there's background noise. We're having a lot of weather here. So I could upgrade Sucker Punch for a second turn of weakness. That's incredible, of course. Infinite Blades, I don't usually like the upgrades where they become innate. It's not that important. You should be cycling through your deck quickly enough that you get that anyways. I think Prepared, it's so important to have these upgraded. I'm just going to make sure I get both of those upgraded, because when you only have one Prepared, you draw it, and then you play it and draw another card. But the card that you draw off of it is just the card you would have drawn anyways if Prepared wasn't in the deck at all. When you have it upgraded, it actually digs you deeper into your deck than if you didn't have this card, and so it helps you cycle through the deck faster. We can definitely take another Elite fight here, though our damage is pretty low against the Bygone Effigy. So we're going to take some hits here, but that's why we have Miniature Tent. It lets us get really greedy with these elites. Let's play Prepared here. We'll discard, and then I want to play all my non-attacking cards before my attacking cards against the Effigy, because you can stack this slow effect for additional damage. And then here we can play Infinite Blades. I can play Prepared, discard Tactician and Survivor, gaining an energy here. And then we can play Strike, Strike, Sucker Punch, keeping it weakened for at least one more turn, the first turn where it's attacking us, which is good. Here, we'll play Prepared, and I'll discard a Defend. I need to kill this enemy quickly, so I'm going to be taking some damage here. I probably also will end up using the Fire Potion, but no need to do that right away. And then we only have 3 energy worth of cards in hand, so we're going to play them all, of course. Usually you just want to play your highest damage cards last against this enemy, so they get the highest bonus from the additional percentage damage. There's like some breakpoints where that's not true, but as a good rule of thumb, that's just always the way to do it. And now I can play Defend. I have to play Survivor last, or I'm discarding another card. So we'll play Shiv, Strike, Strike, and then Survivor. And then here I have enough damage to kill the enemy with our potion. And not enough damage to kill it without using the potion, so we're going to use the potion and win the fight. We took a decent amount of damage here, but again, not terrible. We'll pick Bellows. Incredible relic. I think one of the very best. Just makes every card that you draw so much stronger over the course of the game. And then I'm not thrilled by any of these either. We do have Infinite Blades, so with Phantom Blades, we could basically add 9 more damage a turn. Cloak and Dagger, I think, is not a great way to enable Shivs, usually, and Pounce, we don't have any expensive skills to want to play off of Pounce, so I think I will take Phantom Blades to go with our Infinite Blades, and we might end up more in the Shiv deck, which is obviously a great place to be. And then here we can rest, of course, going back up near full health, and then we can upgrade. And again, I'm going to upgrade Prepared. And then we'll go fight the Elite. because with Miniature Tent, it just lets you get so greedy fighting elites, which is what I really love about this card. We'll play our Prepared here, and I'll discard a Strike and a Defend, and I'll play another Prepared, discard Tactician, and another Strike, because I need enough block with Defend and Survivor. I can set up Infinite Blades and Phantom Blades, and then, unfortunately, I do have to discard Ascender's Bane instead of letting it etherealize, so we will redraw it later in the fight, but that's okay. Now we can go Sucker Punch, and we can block all the incoming damage, and play our Shiv. I might as well... They do have Retain, but I don't believe there's any reason why we want to retain a bunch of Shivs in hand. Currently in this fight or in this deck, so we're just going to play them as we draw them. To keep our hand clear and lower the amount of thinking that I have to do. Discard Tactician and Strike here. And I'll play Defend, Sucker Punch, weakening the enemy. We'll take 10, and we'll just do as much damage as we can. Here I'm going to play, of course, my Shiv and Strike, and then we'll play our Defend and Survivor. And then we should win the fight this turn with minimal damage taken and go into the boss fight with full health and a bunch of upgrades thanks to our Miniature Tent. Red Mask, an incredible relic. This is one of the best that you can find for the Silent. It lets you set up powers easily. It also lets you stack weakness, right? If the enemies are weakened on the first turn, you can play Neutralize and always get at least 2 turns of weakness where enemies are attacking, even if they don't attack on turn 1. Here, see Escape Plan, take Escape Plan. It's just free value for your deck. At worst, it cycles for free. So you should pretty much always click this card when you see it. And then we'll go to the event. I still need more damage in the deck. That's definitely something that I'm currently concerned about. Taking this Nibbit fight, we rolled into a random hallway fight. And you can see that this does come from the harder pool of enemies, because it's our 4th hallway fight that we've taken so far. But here I can go Strike or Defend, and I'll play Strike, Strike. I'm attacking the back one because it's going to have strength. Let's start with Prepared, and we'll discard Tactician and a Strike here. Gonna take a big hit this turn. But at least we can lower the health of this enemy a little bit. Shiv for 13 damage and Sucker Punch for 8 is enough to kill this thing. So let's start with Escape Plan, see if we draw out any block. We did. We'll play Prepared, discard Tactician and Strike. And then we'll play Shiv and Sucker Punch, killing that enemy, neutralize this one. And again, we do have to discard Ascender's Bane to our Survivor, but of course that's a price we're willing to pay to take less damage. And then here, let's start with Prepared, so we can cycle through to more attacks. And there we go. Alright, Flick Flack is a Sly card, and we do have double Prepared, so it's not a terrible option. It's, again, kind of an Act 1 card, and it's going to lose a lot of value in later acts. So I think we'll just take Blur here. Blur is a card I always like having in a Silent deck. Being able to stack block across multiple turns is incredible. This deck is going to have a lot of block just thanks to Bellows giving our Defends additional block pretty frequently. So Blur should be able to be active a lot of the time. And then we can heal back again almost to full. And I'll upgrade Tactician. Tactician not upgraded isn't amazing because only 1 energy typically isn't incredibly valuable, but 2 energy for free off of a Prepared is really good. I just need card draw and I need damage, basically, for this deck, so that's what we're looking for. We should be able to get through the boss fight, though I would like to be a little stronger in terms of damage output for facing this boss. But I think we should still be just fine. We'll discard Tactician here, and we'll discard Defend. And then I'm going to Sucker Punch. I'm going to hit this enemy because I do like killing the kin followers. I have seen some people say that they prefer not killing them and just focusing all their damage on the kin priest. But I think that you remove so much damage from the field when you kill the kin followers that I much prefer to do it that way. Play Escape Plan. We drew into Infinite Blade, so we didn't get any block, but we have Blur from the previous turn, so we just need 2 more block. Let's play Prepared and cycle through the deck. I'll discard Strike, and we are discarding Ascender's Bane here, again to the Survivor. But once again, I'm fine with that. We got our powers set up. We're weakened this turn, so taking a little bit, or doing a little bit less damage. We could potentially retain the Shiv for a turn where we're not weakened, but we would just lose the bonus damage from Phantom Blade, so no need to do that. Let's neutralize this enemy, because it's attacking this turn, so neutralize the enemy that's, or weaken the enemy that's attacking. I actually could have kept 1 Shiv there, I didn't do the math. We're only taking 10 here, so could have had, or 1 strike there, I could have had 4 more damage on the kin follower. Here, I'm going to play a Prepared again, and we'll discard Defend, and guess I don't need Survivor, because the Defend plus is enough. And here, let's do a bunch of damage. I'm going to play Blur, or I'll play Defend. I could play Blur for 5 block next turn, but let's just try to kill this first kin follower and reduce the incoming damage a bit. We do have relatively low damage in this deck, so that's something that we do need to just be aware of. Let's play Survivor. We'll discard Tactician, because why not? And then we'll hit the kin follower, and then here I can discard, or I can disintegrate my Ascender's Bane. Fragile this turn, but only taking 12 damage, which we should be easily able to block. So we'll set up Blur, and we'll play our Shiv. Weakened this turn, but we can draw into enough damage maybe to kill the enemy anyways. This is 15, so we don't quite kill the kin follower. So let's just play Sucker Punch, Defend, and block as much as we can. Take 1 there. And then here, Sucker Punch isn't quite enough, so we'll just hit, we'll kill that enemy, and then we'll play Sucker Punch, Neutralize, Blur, Defend. A slow fight, but a pretty straightforward one at this point, I think. You know, a lot of real lifetime spent on this, but we were never in any particular danger during this fight. Now that we've killed the 2 kin followers, the kin priest is very safe, and we just won't hit damage spikes for the rest of the fight. Let's discard these 2. I'll play Escape Plan. See what we cycle into. We didn't hit a block card, so we'll just discard Prepared and play Strike. Keep the enemy weakened. We'll play our Shiv. We'll play Prepared. And we'll discard Strike here and play some block. And we'll keep taking a little bit of chip damage, but should be able to finish the fight without too much more difficulty. We finally drew a skill off of Escape Plan here. And let's play 1 Prepared. I can discard a Strike, or this Strike and Prepared, because we don't need to play a second one. And then we can definitely play Sucker Punch. I guess I'll just play Blur and Survivor and minimize damage. The enemy is going to attack, it's going to triple attack me this turn, so this is the turn that we're going to take a fairly substantial hit, but that should not be a big deal. looking for more damage cards, of course, because the enemy's not attacking. And there we go. We finished the fight with plenty of health to spare. All right, we can take a bunch of gold. We got a great potion, very, very powerful potion for just taking, again, more safe elite fights. And what we're looking for here, like I mentioned, is card draw to use the extra energy that we're getting off of Tactician and to fill our hand to make our prepareds better, or value over time. So things like, I mean, even this Serpent form is probably what this deck wants. Tracking is kind of interesting as well. We do have, what is it? Yeah, it becomes 1 cost when you upgrade it. We do have a lot of ways to apply weakness, and having enemies take double damage from attacks is really strong. But I think Serpent form, just because it does consistent damage over time, and we'll use the fact that we're cycling through our deck a lot with these prepareds and this Tactician and stuff very well. We're just going to take the Serpent form here. And then it's on to Act 2. And jumping in for Act 2, I think that this deck is in really good shape, so I just want to do a quick check-in before Act 2 here. I think that this deck is in really good shape. We do need more damage. Serpent form alone isn't enough, even with Infinite Blades providing an extra card play every turn. So we need more damage, especially before we face the Insatiable, which is a boss you need to kill quickly. And I need some more defensive capabilities. Something like a leg sweep would be really good. Just something that gave me a bunch of block at once. Even just a footwork would go a really long way. So we're on the lookout for both of those things. But our basic setup is really strong with double prepareds, with escape plan and blur, with Tactician upgraded, and the miniature tent just giving us consistent value. I'm going to go to a shop. We have 240 gold, so I'm going to go to this early shop here. In Act 2 and 3, your first 2 hallway fights are from the easier pool, and the third one will be from the harder pool, so there's no way we can avoid taking harder pool fights. I also want to maximize the number of campfires I go to. So I could go here, that would be 2 hard pool fights, and then a campfire, and then we could take a bunch of elites and campfires on the left. That's pretty nice. I could go to the right here, that's 1 hard pool fight, then a shop, and then we get a couple campfires and 3 elites. That's maybe a little easier, because we don't have to take 2 hard pool fights before the end of the act. But it does delay our first shop for a little while. I think I still like the right-hand path a little bit more, though with miniature tent, does that change the calculus? I think it does. Just having miniature tent means we just get so much value out of going to campsites. I just want to maximize the number I can go to. So this is 4. I could go to the right here, and that would also be 4. If I went this way. Or if I go down this right-hand path, we only get 3. So I think we will take the left-hand path, and we'll take the earlier shop. So, oh, right, let's do the Ancient first as well, of course. All right, we could also take Golden Compass, but I don't think we need Golden Compass in this run. And Very Hot Cocoa is incredible for the Silent. Ring of the Snake giving you extra cards, and then having the energy to play them all immediately is awesome. It also means we're very likely to be able to play Serpent form on the first turn if we draw it without taking damage. So Very Hot Cocoa, basically the best Ancient relic we could get from this Ancient. And then here, let's start with Prepared, and we have 7 energy, so I'm looking for my Serpent form if possible. I can... Just the 1 survivor is enough block, so I can just discard everything else, and we can play Infinite Blades and a bunch of strikes. Here, I can play Phantom Blades, and... I guess I'll play Prepared, because I can draw into Tactician. I could have drawn into Tactician Serpent form, potentially. We can weaken the enemy, which is good, because it's going to do a big attack next turn. And we can get rid of Ascender's Bane. 19 incoming damage, so I don't have the opportunity to play Serpent form here, probably. But let's go ahead and play Escape Plan, see if we draw into any block. I could play 15 block with, well, we'll play our Shiv, of course. I could play 15 block with our various block cards. I could also play Sucker Punch, but I'm just going to play as much block as possible and save my health. Here I have 28 damage, which is enough to break the shield on the tunneler and stun it. When you remove all of this creature's block, it gets stunned. So nice to be able to do that. Which is something that poison silent decks can't break the block on the tunneler easily. So it's kind of nice to be able to do that. Here I'm just going to discard Strike so I can play Defend. Well, we'll play Neutralize, Strike, and Survivor. Actually, I could have played one more Strike. I forgot we were actually reducing the enemy's health because it wasn't weakened yet. I'll take the Poison Potion here. This is great for going into elite fights or more difficult enemies. Speedster is another damage over time card, which is pretty solid. Ricochet is a Sly card, which we do want, but kind of a small ball one. At this point, we're looking for things that apply way more damage than just 12 once per deck cycle. So we're going to take Speedster here, especially because I have very hot cocoa, so this type of power that requires a bunch of energy to set up is a little better for our deck right now. And then I can play Speedster here, and then we can play Prepared. We can also make it innate later on, which works incredibly, of course, with very hot cocoa. I've got 6 incoming damage, so any blocking card is fine, so we can just discard... well, I guess I'll discard the Strike because I want to play Blur and Defend here. And so we'll play 2 Strikes, Sucker Punch, and Blur Defend. These enemies can't take more than 9 damage at a time, but I can at least kill one of them. Let's go ahead and kill... We'll put this one down to 3, and then if I draw Prepared, we just kill it. And then we'll just weaken this one with the Sucker Punch. Because card draw will just kill this exoskeleton this turn. Now, I was kind of punished for that decision because I drew no attacks to finish it off and only 1 card draw. It won't end up mattering because we have enough block to defend all the damage, but it is a little funny that my decision there to get a little greedy did end up meaning that I couldn't play Phantom Blades this turn. Here I can discard Tactician, and I'll discard a Strike as well. And then I believe I can play Serpent Form, right? Because we can just play Serpent Form and then 2 Defends. And we took 0 damage against this enemy. Here, I don't have any way to apply poison currently. Very unusual for a silent deck that I build. Usually I would be doing poison rather than these Speedster Serpent Form things. But I'll take a second Blur. An upgraded Blur is a really nice addition. If you cast multiple Blurs in a turn, it keeps your block 4 extra turns. So having more than one of those in a deck is something I'm always happy with. Here... Okay, well, we got a few really powerful cards that are exactly what we're looking for. Juzu Bracelet I like a lot. I've already talked about how much you don't want to roll into the hard mode Hellway fights, and so this can prevent that. This is a pretty good relic. But I think Fasten is exactly what we're looking for. We still have 5 Defends in the deck. This basically doubles the value of all of our Defends, so it's just an incredible... card for us, and it's kind of like getting 2.5 footworks a lot of the time. So I'm definitely buying Fasten. I also really want to remove a card, but I do want Haze as well. Haze is a way that we can get really strong value off our Prepareds, which we have 2 of, and so that's pretty important. I think I am in a good... hit the menu by accident. I think I'm in a good enough position to just remove a Strike here rather than get Haze. Haze, of course, is very good. It's an extremely strong Sly card, but being able to cycle through to our most important cards is what this deck is really most interested in doing. So removing cards is incredibly important. I I could buy Deadly Poison. Again, I don't think we need that. I think it's a little bit too small of an effect for what we're trying to do here. Then I am going to have to take 2 hard mode fights. And we're probably going to take damage in these, but that's why we have all of these campfires coming up. Let's start with Escape Plan here. See what I draw into. And then I'll play Prepared. Discard 2 strikes. I'll set up Fasten, and we'll set up Phantom Blades. I can play Defend and Defend, and then I have enough block, right? That's more than 20 blocks, so I don't need to play Survivor. We can let the Ascender's Bane disintegrate. I definitely need more card draw to go with this very hot cocoa, though. You can see that we are having trouble playing all of our cards in a given turn. Do I want to play the Serpent form or focus on getting some defenses out? Because right now, I don't have a lot of ability to just do damage. I think I do need to just take this small hit from the Bullbug in order to get Serpent form active. Otherwise, we just won't be able to kill the enemies fast enough. And I'll weaken it to prevent 2 damage here. But this is exactly why you always want to avoid these hard mode hallway fights, because you're always going to take a lot of damage in them unless you have a deck that's specifically set up to fight that type of enemy. And they often have stat checks in very different arenas. Like, these ones want you to have a lot of AoE damage, some others want you to have a lot of single target or a lot of block. So it can be pretty hard to have a deck that's actually good against all of them. Here, I think I am just going to use a potion, but I'm going to use my Speedster first, because then we get Speedster damage off it. Then I'm going to play Prepared. We'll discard 2 strikes. I can play 2 more cards. One of them is always going to be Defend, and I think one will always just have to be Blur so we can stun this enemy, and then we're just taking kind of 1,000,000 damage here. But we have to set up enough damage that we have to set up enough damage and enough survivability that we can eventually start actually taking these things out. Let's play our Prepared, and we'll discard Tactician, which will be another card play. Strike and Neutralize together will be enough damage to kill this Bullbug, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And then this one we can neutralize as well, but let's actually neutralize the rock Bullbug so I can try to stun it. Because it's now still weak on this turn, so it's going to be harder for it to break our block. We'll play Prepared here, and discard Tactician and the unupgraded Defend, because I won't need 3 Defends this turn. And in fact, I can just win, right? We just go Strike and Sucker Punch. Okay, so we took 1,000,000 damage against the hallway enemy there. Always going to be rough. Fortunately, we have our miniature tent, so we can just rest, and we chose this path knowing that those would be difficult. Well-Laid Plan's one of the very best cards for the Silent. We're always going to take that. And then let's go take another fight. This is a much easier hallway fight for us. This one we shouldn't take any damage against, hopefully. Let's play Serpent Form first. Do things in the right order here. Then I'll play Escape Plan. We'll play Prepared. I can discard some Defends. Although, I think I am actually just discarding Strike because we could draw with this Prepared. I could draw into a Blur. As is, I did not, so... Oh, and I should have kept the Sucker Punch there. I was keeping the defenses because I could have drawn into Blur, but I'll just keep them in hand with Well-Laid Plans, and then we can defend next turn anyways, so it works out fine. 25 incoming damage this turn, and importantly, the enemy does have 5 Thorns, so I need to be careful of that. Let's start with a Defend here, and then I'll play Neutralize, taking 5 in return, but I do weaken the enemy, which is very important. And then I can play Survivor, discarding Tactician, gaining 2 energy. Another Defend, putting me at 19. We can play Phantom Blades, 19 block, and then I'm not going to play the Shiv, because the enemy has Thorns, so we're going to save this for a turn where it does not. even though this is going to be, we're giving up one Phantom Blades trigger, our shivs have Retain, which is part of why that card is so powerful. It gives you some optionality with shivs. We'll play Fasten here, and then Defend, and then Blur. Just block all of the incoming damage, and we'll play some shivs. Although, actually, I could have just won the fight this turn, but we can do that without taking any damage regardless. Upgraded Sucker Punch is kind of interesting, but I think we want Backflip or Expertise. Being able to draw cards, especially on turn 1, is the thing that we're looking for the most. I'm just going to take Backflip here. With Acrobatics having been moved to Uncommon, Backflip I think has gained a lot of value as just a card-positive play. It adds more cards to your hand. Then we're going to go here, and we will rest, and we'll do our upgrade. I think I do want to... Well, I want to upgrade Fasten, because it's incredible value to have that be even more block. I wouldn't mind making Speedster innate, because it's kind of awkward playing it on later turns, but always easy to play it on the first turn with the Hot Cocoa. Phantom Blades, I don't think we care that much about upgrading. Backflip I could upgrade for extra block. I think I'm just going to upgrade the Fasten, though. Being able to block all of the incoming damage is what we're really worried about at this point. So having Fasten there will enable us to do that. Then we can take our Elite Fight. This enemy is going to be a little rough, given that one of our plans is shivs, and the Entomancer hard counters shivs. Part of why shiv decks can suffer in Slay the Spire 2 is that this enemy adds dazes every time you hit him. I will still set up Infinite Blades just to get it out of my hand, because our shivs have Retain, so we can use Infinite Blades. We can just keep the shivs in hand and not play them if it feels like it's going to be too many dazes to add to the deck. And then I can play all of these powers. Do I want to play 2 strikes for 9? I don't think so. I'm also going to use my Poison Potion, because this enemy is really dangerous for us. It's going to put a lot of dazes in the deck, and we drew our powers in a bad order and everything. So I want to make certain that I can kill it relatively quickly. So worth using a potion here. I'll play Survivor, discarding Tactician. Then I'll play a Backflip, and I will neutralize the enemy. It does add a daze to the deck, but it applies multiple turns of weakness, and then we can play 2 Blurs, or play Blur and Defend for more block. Do I want to play a Shiv for 1 daze, but it does 13 damage? I think it's okay to do that while the enemy is still only doing 1 daze. When it upgrades to apply 2, then we'll probably have to stop playing these shivs. But this turn I can do this. And then I'll just keep 2 defends. So now it's applying 2 dazes every time I hit it, so I can't really afford to do that anymore. Let's go with Speedster, because I need to be able to start damaging this enemy. And then I'll play Prepared here. We'll discard a Defend, and I guess I'm just discarding 2 Defends here, probably, because we're just going to take a big hit this turn in order to set up our powers. Because I don't have Tactician, and I had to play Speedster, so I can play Blur or a Defend, or I can play Fasten and just take 24 this turn. I could also play Touch of Insanity, and I probably will. So given that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to discard Prepared and our Shiv, or our Blur. And I'll play Fasten, and I'll use Touch of Insanity on one of these Defends, so that we can at least block some damage. Touch of Insanity just to block 12 is a totally reasonable use of the card. Or of the potion. 21 incoming damage this turn. We redrew this Defend, which is pretty nice. I can play Serpent Form, and that means that I would take... I'd take 9 this turn if I set up Serpent Form. I think we do, again, need to sacrifice some health to get my powers set up. And then we'll keep 2 more cards in hand. And now we shouldn't need to take any more damage for the rest of the fight. My deck is slowly filling with shivs, but because they have Retain, it's not that big a deal. Here, we'll start with Prepared. Or no, I can't start with Prepared. I need to start with... I will play 1 shiv, get it out of the deck. We replace it with 2 dazes, but it gives me room in my hand, and we can just draw into those dazes and play them immediately. Discard Tactician and a Defend. I'll play Escape Plan, cycling it. I'll play Backflip. And then I can play Blur, Blur, Defend, and Defend. And now we just have a million block. And then this turn I should, even though we're putting a bunch of dazes in the deck, we should have enough damage to just finish off the enemy here. Alright, Shackling Potion, a good potion to have. Meal Ticket, another healing thing. We do have a shop I could go to, but we're probably just going to keep using the miniature tent. And then here, do I want a dodge and roll? Another dodge and roll is pretty... Or one dodge and roll is pretty nice to have in the deck. We don't have any way to add dexterity, which is where dodge and roll really shines. Our bonus block is from Fasten. But one upgraded dodge and roll I think is usually worth picking up, so we're going to take that there. I'll go to the left here and we'll see what relic we get. And we've got, okay, even more healing, which is kind of funny. And then we'll go to our campsite and we'll get to rest and upgrade as well. Serpent Form, upgrading to 6 damage is pretty good. I could also upgrade Speedster to make it innate, but let's upgrade Serpent Form. This is a big chunk of my damage output, so making sure that that will help me kill the Insatiable faster, I think, is going to matter more than most other things I could do. I'm also going to take this Elite fight. We don't have enough gold to remove a card, and that's what I mostly would want at a shop at this point, so just being able to take an Elite fight, gain some value off of another relic and more powerful card rewards is going to be great. We'll play Speedster here, and Speedster's really good against the Decimillipedes, because of course it's AoE damage. And then we can play Prepared. And we'll discard Tactician and Strike here. I'll set up Infinite Blades, and I do unfortunately have to discard Ascender's Bane, but I can play Blur, Dodge and Roll, and Survivor, block all the damage, have Blur and Dodge and Roll for next turn for more block as well. And we got our Speedster set up. Let's start this turn with a Backflip. And then I'll play Prepared. I'm going to discard 2 Defends. Set up Fasten and play one of the Defends, because I do need more block. And then I can use Shiv on the lowest health enemy here. Didn't get a chance to set up Serpent Form, but I needed to block a bunch of damage, and this gave me the opportunity to do that. Here, let's start with Escape Plan, drawing a card, doing some Speedster damage, and then this turn I probably need to use my potion, because I've got 15 block, no, I have 20 block, but they're doing way more damage than that. So using the potion is going to enable me to play like well-laid plans, and I can set up, I can do some Shiv damage, of course, and I can set up Blur and Defend for a lot of block next turn, or I can play Strike and Sucker Punch. Let's just get a bunch of block going next turn. You should use your potions pretty aggressively. You want to stay high enough health that you can take riskier fights and go out of your way to keep making your deck stronger. And you don't want the game to kind of snowball against you, so using your potions aggressively gives you more resources to work with. I don't think I'm going to have the opportunity to play Serpent Form in this encounter, or at all, so we're just going to discard it here. I'll discard a Strike as well, and then I can play Neutralize on this enemy, preventing the most incoming damage. and we can play dodge and roll, defend, sucker punch, and shiv, I guess again on the lowest health decimillipede. Blocking all of the damage, and we still have dodge and roll this turn. We can then go prepared and discard tactician, and I guess I need to keep the strike so I can kill this enemy, right? Because we have 4 more damage from drawing 2 cards with backflip, but shiv plus 4 damage is not enough to kill the 9 health enemy. So we'll discard a defend here. Then we'll play backflip, and I'll play escape plan. Now I don't need the strike. I don't have anything else I can discard, so we'll just shiv, killing this enemy. It will probably heal before I can kill the others, but it resets its strength gain and makes it much easier to manage the incoming damage. We'll play Phantom Blades as well, and then this turn I can play Blur, Defend, and I think I'd rather just play a Defend again and have way more block for next turn than get 4 damage out with a strike. And then this turn, I actually have 29 blocks, so I could set up Serpent Form. Will I be able to win if I don't do that? This turn, I don't have enough damage to just win the fight this turn, so I guess I will just set up Serpent Form, and because I'm already blocking all the incoming damage, and then we'll play our Shiv. And I'll keep Blur and Survivor. And now that I have Serpent Form as well, it should be very easy to finish cleaning up this fight. Let's play Escape Plan, and then we'll play Prepared, discard Tactician, and a Defend here. And then we can finish killing the enemies. Alright, and then we'll take a Weak Potion. Festive Popper would have been the best against the Decimillipede, which obviously is no longer the case. A second Speedster. Pretty interesting as well. I do like Leg Sweep. Being able to apply multiple turns of weakness is really good. But once you have 2 Speedsters running, drawing cards becomes incredibly strong. So let's double down. It's also upgraded, so we'll always have it ready in our opening hand, which is kind of nice as well. This is a very unusual version of this deck, and kind of cool. 2 Speedsters and a Serpent Form just cycling through the deck and killing everything is pretty awesome, actually. I'll upgrade a card here, and I think I do just need to upgrade my... Well, actually, I'm going to upgrade Sucker Punch. Multiple turns of weakness is so valuable that having the Sucker Punch upgraded matters the most here. I don't care about any of my attacks, so let's transform a Strike. Great to get those out of the deck, and Abrasive is one of the perfect cards we could have gotten. More Dexterity is amazing. Thorns are really good in Slay the Spire 2, because a lot of enemies have multi-attacks, and we have already two Prepareds to cycle through into the Abrasive. We can definitely take another Elite fight. Again, we have Miniature Tent. This is a really cool deck. I'm really enjoying it. I'll play Speedster here, and then we'll play Escape Plan. Strike is free against this enemy, because when you hit it, you gain energy. But I guess all we need to do is just play all our cards. Take 1 damage this turn. I could weaken it. No, it's already weakened because of the red mask. Here, I'll go Neutralize. I'll play Backflip. I'll play Prepared and discard Tactician and a Strike. Play the Shiv to get it out of my deck. And then we can just play everything else. Keep multiple turns of block going as well. I have 13 block here. I could... And I can't easily break the enemy's block to get an extra energy, right? I'm doing 4 damage with Prepared, 6 damage with Serpent Form, and that would be 10, which is not enough to make Shiv hit the actual enemy, because you need to damage the actual enemy, not just its block, in order to get the extra energy. So I'm trying to decide if I could play Serpent Form and still have enough left over to block. Looks like no, unless I draw into Tactician, which isn't possible, because we've already drawn that. So let's not play Serpent Form this turn. We'll start with Prepared, and we'll discard just a Defend and Serpent Form. And then I'll play Fasten, Defend, and I could play Dodge and Roll, or I could set up Phantom Blades. I guess I'd rather set up the Phantom Blades. This turn, we have no way to discard, but I can play Speedster. Sucker Punch is free, because we get the energy back. Shiv we can play, of course, and then we'll just play Dodge and Roll. And I'll keep Abrasive and Tactician. Well-Laid Plans works really well with Sly for this reason. You can keep either your discard outlets until you draw Sly cards, or your Sly cards until you draw discard outlets. And then we'll play Prepared and discard these two. I'm going to play Backflip as well. And I'm always playing Neutralize. I'm always playing Shiv. That gets me an extra energy. We'll play Prepared again. And then I'll just discard these strikes and make a bunch of block. But I'm not going to play these two defends, even though we have Blur, because we have plenty of block for next turn, and I want to retain them with Well-Laid Plans. Here, I can now set up Serpent Form, and then we'll play Escape Plan, play the Shiv, gaining an energy back, and I guess I'll just keep blurring. Oh, I should have played the Blur Plus, of course. Getting a little lazy in this fight because it's over already. Here, I will play my Prepared, and we'll discard Strike and a Defend. Play a Backflip, drawing some more cards. We'll play Neutralize. We'll play Prepared. Oh, I just played Tactician. I just misclicked there. I meant to play the Prepared. Getting very lazy in this fight. We'll play the Prepared again and discard a couple more cards. And Sucker Punch drops the enemy down to 12. And then we can play Blur, and it should die to our Thorns. And there we go. Very easy Infested Prism fight. Okay, 300 gold. That'll let me remove the last few strikes from the deck in the next act. I love one Piercing Wail in the deck, but I'm going to take Leg Sweep. Being able to, again, apply multiple turns of weakness is really good. We have a lot of ways to benefit from this, and having one Leg Sweep in the deck is really strong. And then here, we no longer really need to rest again, but we'll take our 2 HP, and then we can upgrade our cards. I could upgrade Leg Sweep to apply 3 turns of weakness. I could upgrade Abrasive to be 6 Thorns, which is actually a lot of additional damage. I think I actually don't need the upgraded Leg Sweep. Let's upgrade Abrasive to get slightly faster kills in these fights. And then here, we're going to, of course, start with Speedster. And I'll play Escape Plan. I didn't draw enough block this turn or any blurs, so pretty disappointing opening shuffle, because we, again, still have 2 strikes in the deck, which is what's causing us to sometimes have these bad draws. No need to play any of these other cards. We now have these Frantic Escapes in the deck. Here, I'm going to... I'm always going to use 1 weakness potion, and that'll just keep the enemy weakened basically forever. I think it is worth taking some damage, because I could Leg Sweep this turn to block 6, but I think it's worth taking the extra damage to get our Speedster and Fasten set up. And then this turn, let's start with Backflip. Trying to draw into Tactician, right? And we can play Prepared here. Didn't draw Tactician, but we can play Abrasive for free. And I'm only ever playing 1 Frantic Escape this turn, so I'll discard 1, and then I'll play Frantic Escape. Obviously, we need to keep playing Frantic Escapes, or we will eventually die to this enemy. And then I'll play a Defend, and we'll take 5. This is great for us. We can play Serpent Form and get that out here. And then we'll play our Prepared, discard Tactician, which is ideal. I'll discard Blur as well. I want to play Well-Laid Plans and Frantic Escape this turn, because I do need to keep the Frantic Escape timer high. And I wouldn't mind keeping the Sucker Punch to keep the enemy weakened for longer. And then here, we've got 18 damage incoming, so I'll play Defend, Blur, and Frantic Escape. And I'll keep Defend and Frantic Escape. I want to keep a 1-cost Frantic Escape so I can always play one when we need to. We'll play Neutralize here, and we'll play Prepared. Discard a Strike and a Frantic Escape, because I only need to play one of them this turn. I'm going to set up Infinite Blades, and then we'll play Defend, and I'll play Blur and keep some block for next turn as well. I can give up 1 turn on the Frantic Escape timer because we have Well-Laid Plans, which lets me keep 1 in hand, so I can play it next turn and be pretty safe. Here, I'll play Escape Plan first, of course. And then we'll play Prepared. I'll discard the Strike and one of the 2-cost Frantic Escapes. We'll play Shiv. I need to play one of these, so we'll play the cheap one. And then I'm going to just play a Defend and another Defend. And end turn, keeping Survivor, and I'll keep the Frantic Escape. Maybe I didn't need the Leg Sweep in this deck, honestly. It's a very powerful card, so I added it, but just based on its sort of overall power level. But it's possible that it's just not what the deck needed because we already have so much block. Playing that just so that we can get our just so that we can get our extra damage this turn with the Shiv. I need to play 1 Frantic Escape. Let's play Survivor and discard Tactician because that's just energy positive. And then I can play both Frantic Escapes. I don't need to play Dodge and Roll this turn. I'd rather keep the timer ticking up. Dodge and Roll also you can play, of course, to set up block for a future turn. But when you have Well-Laid Plans, you can also keep it to make sure that you're getting value from both halves of it. Let's start with Backflip here, because I'm looking for a way to discard Tactician. I'm also looking for a way to apply weakness to the enemy. It's at 33 health, so do I just kill it if I play 2 strikes? That's 15 damage, and then an additional 12 damage off of our Serpent Forms. So that's not quite enough to kill it, unfortunately. But I can play Defend and Blur, and that's enough block that we don't take damage, and it goes down to 21. And then we'll just keep these... we'll keep the Strike, because we can just guaranteed kill the enemy with Strike next turn. And there we go. Super easy boss fight. This deck is coming together really well. It's actually really cool. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so Fan of Knives is pretty interesting with our Infinite Blades. Nightmare could be pretty powerful as well. Corrosive Wave obviously works extremely well with all of our card draw, and it's one of the fastest ways to kill enemies. You play Corrosive Wave, and then you play, double Prepared, or play a Calculated Gamble, or an Acrobatics, and you just apply a ton of poison. I think I still want Corrosive Wave over Fan of Knives, though it's a little bit close, but Corrosive Wave is just too good to pass, I think, under most circumstances, so we'll grab that, and we'll go to Act 3. Alright, going to Act 3. Let's go and check out what we've got at the Ancient. I definitely don't want the Fiddle. This is very bad. The first attack that we play... Wow, this is actually really bad Ancient rewards for this particular deck. An ethereal copy of the first attack we play each turn is usually just going to be a Shiv. Which is fine, because we can Shiv's Exhaust, so it won't clog up our deck with bad attacks. 2 random curses and 3 wishes is okay, but we really don't want additional curses, and I still need to remove the last 2 strikes from the deck. So I think we usually won't pick this. I guess we'll take Music Box, and this does give me the option of picking up some other pretty powerful attacks, but honestly, these Ancient Relics are mostly a downside for this character. Here, I could go to the left and hit a shop. I definitely need to go to some shops because we have 540 gold. So let's do that. We have 2 fights here, and so our first hard mode fight will be here, which is fine. Then we can go to a campsite, elite, take one last shop, and then go to the bosses. So it looks like a pretty clean path through Act 3. Let's go to the left and start it off. Here we can begin by playing Speedster, and then I will play Prepared, and we have 2 of our Sly cards at hand, so we can play both of those for extra value as well. And then I will play another Prepared here. Sadly, we drew Corrosive Wave at the end of our card draw, so we're not able to get good value out of Corrosive Wave this turn. So we'll just discard it, and we'll discard a Defend. Neutralize this enemy to keep it weakened for longer. Right, and I get an Ethereal Neutralize. Immediately forgot that I had the music box, of course. And so I will play Neutralize on this enemy as well. Now they're both weakened for the next 3 turns, which should be enough. Our 6 Thorns are pretty good against the Turret Operator, of course. Here, we're just going to go Fasten and a Defend. And is that enough block? That is 19 incoming damage for 18 blocks, so we'll just play another Defend. Oh, it's less than 19 because the enemy's dying to our Thorns, of course. Should have paid attention to that, but it mostly doesn't matter here. Let's go ahead and play Well-Laid Plans. I'm going to play Dodge and Roll. Keep a couple cards. And we can kind of speed through the rest of this fight. We can go with Escape Plan and Sucker Punch, weakening it, 15 incoming damage. I now have an Ethereal Sucker Punch, which we can either play or not. And so I'm going to just do that, because then we can play Strike and win the fight. Took me a second, but we got there. Another Prepared, I mean, this deck really can just use as many of these as we can find. We do need more just card-positive card draw. Things like Acrobatics and Backflip are what we're looking for still, but Prepared, we will be able to upgrade it. It can help us cycle through the deck. We'll add as many of those as the game wants to give us. Play 2 random cards from the draw pile is kind of interesting. This is a very bad shop for us, unfortunately, but we're mostly at the shop just to remove strikes. But there's no cards here that we want. I could, Lasting Candy I don't really want until earlier in the deck. I could take Orrery. There's definitely some cards that I'd be interested in adding still, but I am going to get one more shop before the end of the run, so I could also just save my money for that shop. Catastrophe, I don't think is particularly strong for this deck, and none of these other cards are that interesting either. Flick Flack is Sly, but it's just 6 damage, which at this point in the game isn't great. Orrery is the thing that I'm looking at the most. Basically, the question is, will I have enough gold to remove another card from the deck? We'll need 250. I think we will. We'll get 100 gold from these fights before we hit this shop. So let's take the Orrery. We don't have to take all the cards from this card reward, but it has the potential of giving us some pretty powerful options for our deck. Very unlikely to take any of those. Untouchable isn't bad. We do want more defensive cards for Sly, but really I'm just looking for card draw. I'll think about the Untouchable. You should always look at all of the cards. Also, when you have these like multiple card rewards, you should always look at all of the cards before you pick any, because they might inform your decisions. Another Phantom Blades. This is less what we're doing, though it is 9 damage a turn again. Deadly Poison does combo well with our Corrosive Wave, and it's upgraded, so it's also somewhat interesting. But I think, unfortunately, I think we kind of whiffed on the Orrery picks here. I will, I think, take the one Untouchable, just because having one more solid Sly card is pretty good. But overall, I think, although actually we had a Deflect there for 7, which might have just been better than the Untouchable. But I think taking just the one Untouchable to give us more live hits off of the Sly is a little better. I really don't want a debt in the deck, because we only get a chance to remove one more card, and we need to remove a strike, because it just removes our last dead card. So we'll just pay 63 gold here. That might mean that we won't have the gold to remove the last strike, but we'll give it our best shot. Sadly, it's impossible to get the relic with the 3 divination one. There's no way that you can arrange it, I don't believe, because you're still missing 1 corner no matter what. But we'll just take the gold here and a regen potion. I think I'd rather have these 2 potions, so we'll skip on the regen potion. Kind of a rough divination for us, but that's okay. Here we can set up our powers on the first turn, which is great. So we can play Speedster and Serpent Form, and then I will play Prepared. I'll discard Tactician and Defend here. And then I can play Neutralize again, Blur, and Survivor, and now we have multiple turns of the Blur effect, which is great. This turn, I can definitely get away with playing Corrosive Wave, so I'll play that, and we'll set up some poison, we'll discard Abrasive and Defend, play Phantom Blades, and we'll play another Defend, because we have Serpent Form. So it's extra Serpent Form damage. Oh yeah, and we have Blur as well. Here, let's start with Backflip. And then I'll play Prepared. And we'll discard the Untouchable and the Strike. 18 incoming damage, so we can just set up Infinite Blades, and we'll play Sucker Punch, and we can kill this enemy super quickly. The second Sucker Punch will disintegrate. I'm just going to forget Music Box every time, so feel free to get really incensed in the comments about that. You know what? We'll add more prepareds to the deck. If we keep finding upgraded prepareds, I'll click that button every time. Lose 15 HP, upgrade 2 random cards, or draw 2 fewer cards at the start of each combat. We're certainly not taking the big mushroom here. We don't really need 2 random upgrades, because all of the cards that we really care about being upgraded are, but we'll take it. And health is kind of free for us at this point, because we have 3 campfires remaining and very few fights, so we're fine to spend some health here. Let's start with playing Speedster, and then we'll play Escape Plan. Then I'll play Backflip, triggering the Speedster again. Now I can play Corrosive Wave here, and then I can play Prepared. I do need more card draw before our Corrosive Wave is particularly good. We'll discard Strike, and Infinite Blades I think is just going to be a little too slow in this fight. So I'm just going to discard that. And then I'm going to play another Prepared. Here I'll discard this Prepared, even though it does apply poison, because I need to play Leg Sweep to weaken the enemy. And then I need to either play Dodge and Roll or Blur. I guess Blur is more block for next turn, because we'll have 7 block left instead of 6 that Dodge and Roll would have given me. Alright, well here I can just play Serpent Form and Neutralize, keep the enemy weakened for many turns, and get a bunch of free triggers off of Neutralize. This turn, unfortunately, I didn't draw any card draw, but I can at least go Sucker Punch, and I could Sucker Punch again, but I think I want to just do as much blocking as possible, not take any damage off the burns. I could also use my Gambler's Brew here. It's not the most important potion to keep, but I think it's better than the weak potion, and we don't need it this turn, so I guess I'll just pass on the Gambler's Brew. This turn, I'm going to play Prepared. I don't think I can set up the second Speedster, because I need to draw into some more defensive cards. And I'll discard these 2. I'll play Well-Laid Plans, and we'll play Defend Survivor. And I'll take a fairly substantial hit this turn, but we have a Campfire coming up. Okay, well now I probably do need to use my Gambler's Brew. So I'll play Neutralize and then recast it. And then I'll play Gambler's Brew, discarding my hand here. Then we'll play Prepared, and we'll discard Prepared and Defend. I'll play another Prepared, and we'll discard Leg Sweep and Survivor. We'll play Backflip, and then I can play Infinite Blades and Blur here. And keep the Tactician. We'll play Shiv, and another one. And then we'll just play a bunch of blocking cards. Keep Tactician again. 37 incoming damage this turn, so... and I don't have any card draw or discard once again, but I do have 21 block already. So I think I can just go... Well, I guess I'm always playing Shiv and getting the ethereal copy of it. I really want to play Fasten, and then this gives me not quite enough block, so we'll just play Fasten and dodge and roll. And then I'll retain Abrasive and Tactician, because we're very likely to draw into a Prepared. We have 4 in the deck, so we should be able to play one for relatively free. We'll play Corrosive Wave here, and then I'll play Escape Plan. Then I'll play Prepared, discard Abrasive and Tactician. Play Phantom Blades, and I guess the card I want an ethereal copy of is the Shiv will not benefit from the... Actually, I don't know. Because it copies this card, I think it won't benefit from the Phantom Blades, but I'm just going to play this just for science. And yeah, okay, it is only 4 damage there, but I wasn't sure if it would keep the modifier. I didn't think it would, but good to test those things. And then, obviously, we win the fight. We'll keep the Vulnerable Potion. Bag of Marbles, it can come up. This deck does do some attack damage. Do I want an Expertise? This deck needs card draw pretty badly. Expertise, when you upgrade it, draws you up to 7. And we can often discard down to a low amount using Prepareds in order to make Expertise good. I don't like this card very much, honestly. I much prefer Acrobatics. I much prefer Calculated Gamble for a lot of card draw. But I think that this is the deck that wants Expertise with Corrosive Wave, Double Speedster, and so on. So here we're going to take it. We'll go to this Relic. Lantern, not amazing when we have Very Hot Cocoa already, but that's fine. And then we will go take this Campsite, heal back to basically full, and we get an upgrade. So Expertise, we could draw up to 7. Corrosive Wave could be apply 3 poison, or I could upgrade a Prepared, which is a pretty important upgrade as well, making this card useful. We're going to get this upgrade and 2 more, and I think those are the 3 cards that I am going to upgrade. So the question is, which do I want to upgrade right away? Let's start with Prepared, I think, because this card is kind of unplayable, not upgraded, so we always want to upgrade it to make our deck as strong as possible. And then we'll upgrade Corrosive Wave next, and finally Expertise, probably. Here we have a hard mode hallway fight. Let's play Speedster, Corrosive Wave, and then we can play Prepared. We'll discard, I guess we'll just discard Tactician and Untouchable. What we really want is a Reflex, the card that draws cards when you discard it, the Sly card draw card. And then here I'll play Prepared, and I'll discard 2 cards. And so now Expertise is awesome this turn. We'll play our 2 cards, and then we'll draw up to 6, putting a million Corrosive Wave and a bunch of damage on the enemy here. I'll play Serpent Form. I'll play Escape Plan. I believe we still have our Music Box, so... Well, we'll start with Backflip. Keep drawing cards. And I guess I just want to get the Speedster set up, so I'll play that, and we'll play Neutralize, and then we can play another Neutralize. Now the enemy's weakened for a million turns. That was, this deck is starting to really come together. If we get opening hands like that, it's going to be very hard to stop us from winning. I'll play Infinite Blades, Well-Laid Plans, and Fasten just to get them out. We have plenty of block this turn anyways. And then this turn, I can start with Prepared. And we'll discard Abrasive, and I'll discard, I guess, just a Defend. And then I'll play another Prepared here. Keep on cycling through the deck a bit. I don't need any of these defenses, really, but I can just discard the Slimed and the Leg Sweep, because I probably do want to play Blur this turn. So I'll double play Shivs, I'll play Blur, I'll play Defend. Oh, and we have enough damage, the enemy dies, so none of that really mattered, but good practice to make sure that you're playing in things in kind of the right order. After Image is great for this deck. We play a lot of cards every turn, so we'll definitely take After Image for even more block. And then I think we if I go to this campsite, I'm going to be just short of the money to remove a card, right? Because sometimes the elite will give you less than 30, and we need 250 to remove our last strike. So I could take an additional fight here. It means one fewer card upgrade, which I do want to upgrade Expertise. I do want to upgrade Corrosive Wave, but making sure that I have the money is fine. I think we will have the money still, even if I just take the elite fight. So let's go to the campsite. We'll heal back to 70, and I'll upgrade. It's so important that I get both of these cards upgraded. We'll start with Corrosive Wave. And then we'll go to this elite fight here. Let's start with... really nice to have Expertise and Backflip in my opening hand, because we have 10 energy on the first turn of this combat. We'll start with Speedster. We'll play Backflip. And then I'll play Prepared. We'll discard Abrasive and Untouchable. I'll get Infinite Blades out, and I'll play Dodge and Roll. Well, so the question is, do I want to play the Leg Sweep? Because I probably want to play everything else before playing Expertise. Though, that means I would not be able to play Serpent Form if I draw it. So I think what we're going to do here, I have enough block. I'm going to play Strike on the Spectral Knight. Oh, right, the Ethereal copy. I forgot about that. It does not work well with the Expertise. So Music Box kind of coming back to haunt me here. Well, I'll play it anyways, and then I'll play the Expertise, drawing 5 cards. As predicted, I can't draw the Serpent Form this turn, but I can still at least play or can't play Serpent Form this turn because I messed up with the Music Box. But we'll play Escape Plan, and then we'll play Prepared. We can discard Tactician and a Defend here. I'll get After Image out, and I don't have Well-Laid Plans, so I guess I'll just play a Sucker Punch. Enemies will take some return damage from Thorns, but with double Speedster, we should be in pretty good shape to end this fight pretty quickly. We have 2 Defends this turn, so we'll just play... I'll let my Phantom Blades and whatever disintegrate. I'll play Fasten, I'll play Defend, and that's not quite enough block, so I could play Blur and let a Defend disintegrate. I think I'll just play a second Defend. I'd rather have that in the deck. And then we'll play our Shiv twice. This enemy will go down to 3. We have no longer upgraded cards, which is pretty rough, but I can go Corrosive Wave. We can play Prepared, cycling through 1 card. And I'll have to discard, I think, the other Prepared. And then I can use my Weakness Potion this turn as well. I'm going to play Neutralize and the Ethereal Neutralize, keeping this enemy weakened for 2 turns. And then we'll weaken this enemy. And then I can play Defend and Blur and Shiv and minimize the incoming damage and, in fact, negate it. And then this turn, we can go Escape Plan, and we can play Well-Laid Plans. I do want to get that out there. I'd like to kill the Magi Knight before I get the Well-Laid Plans out there. But the double Shiv play isn't enough to do that, so I'll just play Well-Laid Plans and pass the turn, and we'll keep our Defend, because it's actually more block than the Untouchable. And then here, let's start with Backflip. And I can dual cast Neutralize. I could also just double cast Strike, killing the Magi Knight. Let's go with Prepared first. We get a Speedster, damage proc, and we can discard one of these strikes. And then I guess I'll actually just play 2 Ethereal, or play the Neutralize and the Ethereal copy, so that then I can, well, just finish the fight here. 1 strength actually pretty good. We still attack a reasonable amount in this deck. The second Expertise is, of course, a little worse than the first, because they don't work well together, but upgraded Expertise is exactly the type of card we want in this deck. We want to draw as many cards as possible. We also got exactly enough money that we can remove our last strike, I believe. Is there anything else that I want more than that? Bubble Bubble can speed up the kill. Oddly Smooth Stone is very good. It's an extremely powerful relic for us, but I think just removing the last strike and making sure that we can cycle through all of our most powerful cards is going to be the most important thing. Then I'm going to go to the campsite. We rest for 0 value here, and then we're going to upgrade, and we're going to upgrade our last expertise to make sure that we can constantly draw into as many cards as possible with all of our card draw effects. And then it's on to the boss fight. So here, let's start with Speedster, of course. And then I'll play Backflip. I'll play Prepared. I'll discard the Untouchable and one of the Defends. And then I can double cast Neutralize. That's our only card we can double cast, so I guess I'll do that. We'll weaken the Torchhead Amalgam for multiple turns, because that's the one that's attacking. And we'll set up our powers. We'll play Blur, Leg Sweep, and Survivor, keeping a bunch of block for next turn. Here, I can only play... We have 3 bound cards and no card draw, which is pretty important. But Well-Laid Plans does a really good job of countering the Queen, because it lets you retain these bound cards and they become unbound. So we'll play Well-Laid Plans, we'll definitely get that set up, we'll play Dodge and Roll, and we'll play this and an Ethereal Copy for as much damage as possible. Being weakened and frail is, of course, difficult for this deck, which really wants to maximize its block every turn, but we should be fine still. I do have Tactician, so I should be able to set up Speedster. I can't play Serpent Form if we draw into it just off the Tactician, but... So I'm deciding whether I'm going to play Corrosive Wave and Speedster or just one or the other. I think what we're going to do here is we'll play Corrosive Wave and not the Speedster this turn, and that'll give me enough block that I can definitely survive, and enough energy that if we draw into Serpent Form, which I'm kind of hoping to, we can play it. So we'll discard Tactician here. I'll just go ahead and discard one of these Defends, and then I'm going to play my Shiv to remove a card from my hand and replay it. I want to play one of these Expertise. So I could play Speedster and then play this to draw 3 cards. I could also just play this to draw 3 cards immediately. Let's play our bound card and draw 3 cards immediately here. Then I'm going to play After Image because I need additional block, and After Image is not affected by being frail. So I can play After Image, I can play Prepared. We'll keep Serpent Form in hand. I'll just discard the 2 bound cards this turn. Then I'm going to play another Prepared. We'll discard Abrasive, and I'm going to play Blur and Defend, probably. I'll play discard Abrasive, and I guess I'll discard the Defend here. Because I still don't have Fasten set up, which is why we're taking damage this turn. And then we'll just play our 2 defensive cards. Take 4, which is fine. Basically, not drawing Fasten until the end of the shuffle meant that I took 4 damage in this fight, but we probably won't take more than 4 damage. Here I can... The only card draw I have is Expertise currently, and I definitely want to get Fasten into play. I also don't have any discard for our Tactician, so that's kind of a problem. Alright, I will be taking more damage because I drew a really awkward hand here. Let's start with Fasten, because I really need to get that into play, and we'll just take the 18, or a little less than that because of After Image. And then we'll play a couple Shivs. I can play Expertise, drawing 2 cards. I could also draw 3 cards if I play Corrosive Wave first. But what I want to draw into is a block of some kind. And then, yeah, I can just play the Defend. And we'll take 1 here. I'll keep Serpent Form and Tactician. Because if I draw any discard, that should enable me to get extra energy and play the Serpent Form. And then here, let's start with the non-bound prepared. And we'll discard Tactician. We'll discard a defend here. I did shuffle back in the Ethereal Neutralize, and we'll just let it re-etherealize this turn. I can now play Serpent Form. And I'll play this prepared as well. Discarding... I want to keep this Neutralize in hand. I've already played one bound card, so we'll discard Expertise, and I'll discard probably the Survivor, because Defend is just better, but we also don't need to replay it. I'm going to play this Neutralize here, keep the Queen weakened, and I will shuffle one more Ethereal Neutralize into the deck. We'll play a Prepared, we'll discard Defend and Leg Sweep, then I'll play Backflip, and I'll play Blur, and we'll play Shiv as well. And then I can keep the Speedster here. Our 6 Thorns are really good against the Queen as well. So let's start with... We have plenty of blocks, so I'm just going to start with Speedster. And then I can play Prepared. For more damage, we can discard a couple Defends. And then I probably just play one of these Defends, or I can play Dodge and Roll, but let's just play a Defend, and we'll play 2 Shivs. We'll keep Untouchable and Dodge and Roll. Enemy takes 30 damage here, as it sort of bonks against our pointy face. Let's play Backflip. Play Escape Plan. I'll play this Neutralize, I think. I'm happy shuffling more Neutralizes into the deck. Because at this point, we're killing the enemy pretty quickly. And here I'm going to just play Blur for additional block, and we'll play Survivor, discarding Untouchable. Because that will trigger the Blur, and then we'll keep Prepared and Expertise. That should be enough card draw and damage that we can easily win. So we'll play Corrosive Wave here, we'll play our Prepared, we'll discard Tactician and Blur. We'll play a Prepared, we'll discard Expertise and Defend, and I'll play Sucker Punch, and that's the Queen fight done. Alright, so we took 5 damage, didn't use a potion or anything. Very easy fight against the Queen there. This deck has really come together. Let's see if we can fight the test subject just as cleanly. So the test subject, we don't have the 2 energy on the first turn. And, of course, it gains strength as we play skills, which is pretty dangerous for this deck. Let's start with After Image. That won't give it any strength. I'll definitely be playing at least one Speedster. And I'll play Corrosive Wave to help kill it a little faster. Although that is a skill. Then I'll play Backflip, which is also a skill, so we might take some damage from this enemy this turn as we give it a lot of strength. But we should be able to do a bunch of damage to it as well. So I'm going to play Prepared here, and I'll discard... I'm not playing the second Speedster, because I will need enough block that... enough energy to play block that I can... so I can defend myself. And then I'll play Well-Laid Plans I definitely want out. I'm going to play this Defend to minimize the damage that we're taking. And then I could play Expertise. It would give the enemy some strength, but we might draw into Tactician plus Prepared or Neutralize. So let's do that. We draw 6 cards. We do a bunch of poison. Here I'll play Prepared. More strength to the enemy, of course, but it's also not so bad to give this stage strength because we have After Image. So while it's gaining 3 strength every time we play a skill, After Image is also giving us a bunch of block, which can protect us from that a little bit. And then I'm cycling through to try to hit Tactician here, though I didn't, so I just gave it some extra strength for no value this turn, but that's fine. Alright, so we take 0, and end turn, I'll keep Expertise, and I'll keep a Defend. Keeping Defend over Blur, because we'll draw into Fasten. Though the enemy's just dying this turn anyways, so let's play Serpent Form, and I'll play Escape Plan, and I'll end turn here, and I'll keep Tactician and Survivor, so we can discard Tactician. it's going to die and immediately come back because it died at the beginning of its turn. I will do one ethereal neutralize in the deck just to get a bunch of weakness on the enemy. And then I'm going to play Fasten for sure. I'm going to play Prepared as well. And we'll discard Tactician and a Defend or a Leg Sweep. Probably just Leg Sweep. Because then I can go Blur, Defend, and that's enough block. But I might as well play the Defend. I'll keep Survivor to block, because we can activate Sly cards with it next turn if necessary. Go with an Escape Plan to start, and then I'll play Prepared, trying to cycle through to our best cards. I'm going to discard Sucker Punch and this unupgraded Defend, because I want to play a big Expertise. We'll play Phantom Blades. And then I'm going to play Survivor, discarding Defend, because it provides a bunch of block, but also gets a card out of my hand, which makes Expertise better. I'm going to play one more Neutralize, but let both of the copies just become ethereal. And then I'll keep Speedster and Untouchable, because I want to get the Speedster out as well. And then this turn, I can play Corrosive Wave. Can I play Speedster? Will we have enough damage? We should. With between Serpent Form, Corrosive Wave, and double Speedster. And I have 2 Prepareds in hand, and I can potentially draw into Tactician, though it's not that likely. I'll just go ahead and play the Speedster, because we should be able to kill it this turn regardless. And we'll discard Untouchable, we'll discard Infinite Blades. No, I want to keep the Infinite Blades to set that up. Get that out of the deck as well. And then I'll play another Prepared, which should be lethal. And then I will discard Tactician and Backflip, so that I can play Infinite Blades. Is there anything that I want to play off of Expertise this turn? I'll play Escape Plan, because I could draw into a Blur or something like that. Expertise, I don't think there's any reason to play, so I'm just going to hold on to it here. This turn, the enemy is intangible, so we can't kill it. I guess I'll throw my Vulnerable Potion at it anyways, just to use the potion here. And let's start with Prepared. I'll discard a Defend and a second Defend. I do want to weaken the enemy this turn, but I have Neutralize. I think we can just shuffle a second Neutralize into the deck, keep it weak for 4 turns. I'll play a Prepared here, and we'll discard a Defend and another Defend. Is that right? Because then I can just play Defend Leg Sweep this turn. That seems fine, and we'll keep Corrosive Wave. And we'll play our Shivs as well. So now it's weakened for 6 turns. We're down to 2 cards in hand. We have Corrosive Wave to set up for this coming turn, which will allow me to get a lot of damage on the enemy, presumably. Though actually, in this case, we didn't draw any card draw, and we just have the Expertise in hand. So I'll play these 2 Shivs, and then I'm going to play Dodge and Roll, Survivor, discarding Sucker Punch, and Defend to block as much damage as possible. And I'll keep Expertise and Corrosive Wave again, because I can play Corrosive Wave on a turn when I draw Prepared. Such as this turn. Let's play Corrosive Wave, and then we'll play our Prepared. Discard Untouchable, and I'm not going to play the Sucker Punch, so I'm just going to get rid of it. We'll play another Prepared. I'll discard Dodge and Roll, and I want to keep the Expertise. I want to keep the Escape Plan to cycle. I guess I'll just start discarding Blurs. I don't want the Shiv in the deck either, because we don't want to redraw it. And then here, I'll discard Defend and Blur. And then I'll play Backflip. Keep drawing and putting more and more poison on the enemy. I'll play the Neutralize, and I'll play Prepared, discarding Tactician and Defend. Gain some energy. and then we'll play Expertise, drawing 6 more cards. I'll replay Neutralize here, keeping it weakened for even longer, and then Expertise is only 2 draws, but we do have a Corrosive Wave in play. So I could also play Survivor first. Let's just do that, actually. We'll play Survivor to remove 2 cards from my hand. Play Expertise, drawing 4 cards for a bunch more Corrosive Wave. I redrew into Corrosive Wave, so I can set that up for a future turn as well. So we'll keep Corrosive Wave and Expertise here. And then this turn, we'll play the double shivs. And then I can definitely play Corrosive Wave. I can play Prepared into Tactician and Untouchable. I can play Backflip. I can play Prepared. And I'll discard the non-ethereal Neutralize. I can decide if I want to play the Neutralize later. I don't think we need a Blur this turn. I'm just trying to kill the enemy. And I guess we just have enough damage that we kill it kind of regardless. So we'll just play a couple more cards and end turn. And then we had some extremely clean boss fights. This deck was awesome. I really enjoyed this one. So there we go. Cycling through, playing Sly cards. Still a pretty dominant strategy in the new version of Slay the Spire. This deck was really cool. It's very different from the decks that I usually build, killing mostly with Speedster and Serpent Form instead of like Poison, Noxious Fumes. Corrosive Wave, of course, fits with the deck and is kind of a poison card as well, and it helped me kill the bosses faster, but wasn't a core part of the deck. So it was really cool playing this, and also it was a very large deck. We ended up with 33 cards by the end of the game, despite having removed every strike. So a pretty cool and somewhat different setup for how I usually will build the Silent. Goes to show that there's a lot of different ways to build this character. Also, 4 Prepareds is ridiculous. 4 Prepareds, Tactician, Abrasive, etc. obviously is going to give you a lot of value, and we ended up with an early miniature tent, which just like broke the game wide open by letting us take these really greedy elite fights and then immediately upgrade and heal back to full. So really, really fun run. As always, my friends, hope that you enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Slay the Spire 2 and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.